Hey, guess what? We're back again, and this was a video that I was supposed to do on the weekend, but I couldn't get to it because I was busy doing other things. And basically, what it was is the aspect of twin flames changing the template of the birth experience. Now, I'm hoping I'm going to get a lot of input on this video because it's all going to come from ladies, probably with very few men involved. But again, as I've mentioned here before, I don't like bringing out information until I see its time. I'm not like other people who will just get information and want to present it right away. I wait for it, all right? Until I get validation from the boss, and the boss is you out there, that tell me and give me indication that it's time to do it. I want to emphasize that point. I believe honestly and truly that if more of you would wait for the information that you get till it's validated by exposure to the people or the people are experiencing it and then give it, you would actually access more higher vibrational information. That's what I believe, all right, for what it's worth. Now, the template of the birth experience, I want to share with you, and I know I've done this in a video some years back. When Nicole and I first came together, we went through, as a lot of people do in these high vibrational connections, soul to soul connections, twin flames, labels, whatever you want to call it, the power struggle, the proverbial fighting, the bickering, and all the rest that goes on, and all of the stages everybody likes to go through, and all that whoopie-doo stuff. Finally, we got down to actually working together as a couple by complementing the energies and the talents between the two of us and creating something. Well, once we got to that point, which took about 3 to 4 years, we decided, I decided, Nicole decided, that we wanted to consider having a child. And for me, that was a major decision because I was 51 at the time. And I already figured that being a parent would pass me by, kind of thing. But anyway, to make a long story short, even before we had a chance to initiate the idea into reality of having a child, suddenly what happened is Nicole and I started experiencing some, shall we say, off-worldly experiences in regards to her being pregnant. And she started to go through a little bit of the symptoms of a female being pregnant. And I kind of went along with her, experiencing some of those symptoms. And we found it rather unusual and strange. So what happened at that particular point, we had access to a couple of relatively good clairvoyants, someone who can see into the ethers or into the energy field. And what happened is we asked two of them to come over, kind of take a look, see what was going on. And what they saw was a fetus taking form in a bubble of golden light. And in connection with that particular bubble, there was two cords. One of the cords was attached to me, going into the navel, and the other cord was attached to Nicole, going into the navel. And she wasn't pregnant at that time. We were stumped, and we noticed that the process taking form in this bubble of light was actually watchable, because Nicole, once she tapped into it, she could actually see it and see the whole development as it's taking place. To make a long story short, we did not, at that particular point in time, keep in mind this is 18 years ago, the internet was basically in its infancy at that particular point. There wasn't a hell of a lot of information up on twin flames, never mind any of this stuff, which was really basically esoteric in nature. Now, it can be said by some, and they may say so, well, isn't that the way that all children are formed, in the etheric realms first? Yes, but there's a difference here. When you have two people, and again, I don't want to sound arrogant here, Nicole and I are a set of twin flames, so therefore we resonate and vibrate at a different vibration than the average person walking down the street. So therefore, if we decide, or any set of twin flames for that matter, depending upon where their consciousness is at, where their vibration is at in their unfoldment in the process as it unfolds, should they decide to have a child, it will not go through the normal process that the average person does in a birth, where it takes place in the etheric in the normal fashion. It will move into a higher vibration of light, if you want to put it that way. And actually, in fact, the baby, the fetus, will be formed completely in this new vibrational pattern, which is the content and the containment of the two energy fields in three-dimensional reality, in that perspective. And then it can and will take form in the physical. Now, I want to make a comment here. At this point, that's going to sound a little off the wall to some, and to some it's going to sound perfectly normal. I'm going to look a little corny on this one. I personally feel and believe that down the road, and based on the experiences that I've been hearing about, I've actually had some ladies get a hold of me and start sharing some of these similar types of experiences, which is why I'm even doing this video at the moment, because I know it's time, so I'm doing it. I actually do believe, let me rephrase that, I know what's coming down the road is within a few decades, or perhaps even sooner, birth on the planet will be able to happen in the manner of what might be called an immaculate conception, without the female having to go through the process of physical birth. Now, I'm sure people go, oh, geez, he's off his nut. All right. No, I don't think so. I also believe that ultimately we're all moving towards a more androgynous state of being, even though we are in male and female bodies. So that in reality, what I think happened here is, excuse me, as Nicole and I were, well, one of the first set of twin flames to come together in the last 20 years, all right? We went through a lot of stuff before everyone else did. So we kind of set a template or a format, or gave some kind of a protocol for other people to kind of get their teeth into. And a template needed to be set, as it were, for the birth of children that can manifest in these high vibrational unions. Now, I'm going to say initially in the beginning in twin flame unions, but then I'm going to say it will trickle down to a potential for everyone eventually. Okay, I'm not leaving anybody out, and I'm not saying it's unique to twin flame, because it is happening in other avenues of our society, because we have some high vibrational souls coming in who are similar to and can do the same thing. So I'm not leaving anybody out here, okay, and I'm not on an ego trip. I want to emphasize that point. I hope some of you can understand sometimes that when you're talking about new things that are happening or new things that are unfolding, it's very difficult to talk about it sometimes without people perceiving from where they're coming from that you're not being arrogant or cocky, or you're into ego self, or you're some kind of, constipated idiot giving information. And what's happening here is that's what I believe is going to happen. And I believed it then. And what's happened now is I've had, like I said, a few ladies get a hold of me, who I'm not going to name, obviously, for obvious reason, who have mentioned similar experiences happening to them. And I personally believe that this is a designated part of the mission format, specifically in the twin flame community, to certain sets of twin flames who will set a new template in all of the different soul groups for a new birth pattern. Now, what I mean by that, I'm going to elaborate a little bit here. Yeah, okay, I got it. What's going to happen is this, is as this new birth template is set, what will happen is the incoming children in future generations, for example, will be far superior to what we have on the planet now, all right? Which is why there are millions and millions of people right now going through a purging and a cleansing and dealing with issues and patterns and vibration, and they're manifesting diseases, mental disorders, etc., 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 because we're going through a purge. We're either going to purge and cleanse and let go of things at a very accelerated rate, or you're simply not going to be here. It's that simple. Humanity is evolving. In order for us to evolve, we need some new systems in play. We need a 12 chakra system. We need a new meridian system to open up and be active that has been dormant for thousands of years in the human species. And we need a new birth template vibrational pattern set by some graduates, aka twin flames, if you will, in that process. Now, when this happens to some people, they're going to be caught literally with their knickers wrapped right around their ankles, especially ladies, because they're not going to know what's happening to them. In some cases, they may feel, even in the energetic, etheric form, that they are being impregnated, if I can put it that way, by celestial beings, energy beings, male, whatever you want to call them, and they'll be friendlies type of situation. But they won't actually have a child physically. That's a template being set. The template is being set in that particular person or that particular female to share as a template within the soul group, but more specifically, if she's in a relationship with someone or is going to be in a relationship with someone, she will have that template set within her. This is very important shit, people, all right? This is not huffy, fluffy, guffy stuff and all of that crap you see being presented for twin flames. This is down-to-earth, evolutionary process stuff that I'm presenting here. And I do hope people pay attention to what's going on here. This is the most exciting stuff that's going on. When I saw the messages that came in from a few ladies in the last week, and they were telling me these stories, I got excited because I said, yes, after 18 friggin' years, I've been waiting to present this information. Now is the moment. And I hope I do it good enough and I don't blow it, literally, because it's really an exciting, you know, there's so many people giving all of these hoopla messages about twin flames of this and millions are coming together. It's all crap and shit. This stuff that I'm talking about is this template of birth. This is a major significant event because of what it means to me is we are going to survive as a species because certain females, bless them, have had the ability or the wherewithal to be able to take on, create that template that's unique for the soul group. Now I want to elaborate on that point for a moment. On the planet, as I have said before, and a few other people are finally listening to what I'm saying, there are twin flames in specific soul groups. And those twin flames have specific roles. Now, when I say twin flames, we're talking twin flames because that's the way I'm going to title the video. But there are also graduates, twin flames, in other areas of society who are not using the twin flame label. They're doing the same thing in the soul group that they're in. So everything is covered. Nobody's left out. So when these experiences are happening, the ladies in question, imagine what is happening to you at a cellular level when you have an experience of being pregnant like this. Imagine what is happening to your ovaries. Imagine what is happening to your vagina, for one thing, okay, without any disrespect intended here. You are literally being prepared to be a birth mother to a new template for your soul group. And that doesn't necessarily mean you'll ever have children. I want to emphasize that point. It's a template that you, as a female, will be able to present to other females as a template in all of the manifestations that you do. So every female that is in a twin flame vibration or a graduate and going and templating will not experience it all. It will only be those in the key position. Your body and the transition and experience that you have will be different than, say, for example, what Nicole and I had, or different than another set has by definition, so that you will be able to template to the females in your particular soul group. Now, what's the end result of this? All right. Again, every parent thinks that their kid is the end all be all. I get that. All right. I understand that. However, I'm going to try and be very clinical here and say, okay, Nicole and I manifested and finally brought into the reality a child. Is this child different or unusual or in any way different than other kids? Absolutely yes. The difference being is this, and we noticed this right away. One of the most important things that we've noticed is our son has a highly evolved personality that far exceeds any of the development of where I was at his age right now, or where Nicole was at his age, and he's now 18, all right? He has the maturity and the level of an adult of a 35-year-old, and I'm talking about an adult. Some of you heard me make the comment before that just because you look like an adult doesn't mean you are one. If you want examples of that, all you need to do is join a Twin Flame group on Facebook, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So that what happens is, in every soul group, because in every soul group we have different belief systems and different evolutionary processes that have taken place in regards to love, relationships, sexualities, and all of these manifest ultimately somewhere down the road as birthing children, all right, giving birth. So that template has to be changed. So kudos, I salute, I wish I could give all of you wonderful ladies a big hug that have taken this one on, because some of you have probably had these experiences happening to you recently, some years ago. No one ever talked about it, never was brought up or open in discussion. I brought it up now because it's time, and I don't want to make this too long a video, but it is important now for those of you who have had a similar type of experience to bring it out, discuss it openly. And some of you that have had this experience have probably had children since you've had this experience. If you have, then you have something to offer other people in that particular perspective, because you're going to share that template. The other thing that I want to mention here is because this new birth template is now taking and coming into effect, what it means is, again, this is going to be taken the wrong way, I can see it coming. We're going to have lower vibration or lower developed souls not be able to come back in a go-round, all right? Say, some people might say, well, I don't give a shit, I'll do it next lifetime, all right? The bottom line of the situation is there is no really next lifetime, all right? You're running out of time at a soul level, because this is why the pressure is on now, why so many people are going through so many issues at this particular point. Because this birth template, which is part of the Twin Flame Graduate Soul package, is now being set into place. And it's not as a punishment for those who don't want to do it now or this, that, and yada, yada, yada. It is to set a template at a higher vibrational level so that the souls coming in have to formulate into three-dimensional physical reality at a much higher vibrational rate. So therefore, the ones that want to come back in have to do their shit work now before they leave. Otherwise, they may not get a chance to come back at all. Period. All right? You know, there are people who seem to think that all souls come from the same source or the same God or the same infinite being or whatever you want to call it. But we are a multi-dimensional, multicultural group of souls on this planet. We come from many different universes, many different timelines, and many different points of origin. And you have to have a pretty small consciousness to think we all come from one source in this day and age, all right? You have to leave out the biblical thing here and move beyond it and start realizing that there were a few men and women that have come throughout history that have been incorporated into the religious aspect and put as beings, when in reality, they were going through the evolutionary process themselves and were manifesting templates that could have and should have manifested in this reality, but didn't. For example, there is that thing in the religious aspect that talks about the Immaculate Conception, all right? That is a process that was templated then, but didn't catch. Now it's going to be done by hundreds of sets of twin flames. And when it sets this time, it's not going to be just one example, but it's going to be hundreds of examples, all done in the different soul groups because of the splits that have taken place. And this has nothing to do with being disrespectful for any religion. I respect all religions and cultures. I'm just adding in a different perspective and point of view, leaving out all of the biblical bells and whistles, if we can put it that way. And that's what's manifesting at this particular point. So I hope when some of you have these experiences, and there will be some men also who will be participating in birthing in the etheric realm. I've done it twice that I can remember without Nicole's participation. I've had that little thing in. And that is because at this particular point, in order to be a female, you have to be a good male. In order to be a male, you have to be a good female. Vice versa, back and forth. So we each need to be able to experience what each other experiences back and forth and template it. And I don't necessarily mean by coming in one lifeline as a male, coming in one lifeline as a female. We need to be able to do it here in the physical now at all levels so that we can claim and vibrate and template that androgynous identity or template within self. And this is what is taking place at this particular point in time. Now, I hope I explained that with some clarity. I'm not overly impressed with the way I said it. I did the best I could. So we'll see what happens and what kind of response I get. Because I do have some more information, but I want to kind of sit on it till I see the response to this video. Thanks very much for joining me. I actually really enjoyed doing this one. It was fun, and I hope it has some meaning for you. Take care, everybody.